Hey, Dean Yeager.
Welcome back to another episode of What's Going On Today.
Another episode.
What is going on today? Because I sure as hell don't know.
Well, something we both enjoyed growing up, the theater experience.
Movie theaters.
Yep.
I feel bad for the theater business,
Yeah.
I mean, because thinking about going to the movies right now and sitting in a room for 2 hours, I'm sure not a lot of people are doing it, but still, it's with everything going on. But I'm a popcorn guy. I'll go see just about anything.
I mean, I've got some friends who actually, feel that it's safe enough to go.
I've thought about going here recently, but there's nothing out there that's drawing me to I gotta go. We had a one movie a month kind of rule.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really coming out right now. And then you've got all these streaming services.
Well, see, that's what you're talking about. There's nothing coming out. It's because it's like the cycle they got themselves in. Well, the theaters are open, barely, but there's no product, there's no content because they keep pushing. I just heard that they pushed back No Time to Die.
Oh, again?
Again to, I think, November?
No.
I think it was supposed to come out. Well, they pushed it back once. It was supposed to come out
It was supposed to come out April of
Oh,
last
yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And then it was November of last year.
And then it was April of this
year.
year. They pushed it back to November of this year.
Come on.
And that's pretty much the reaction a lot of people are given right now is, what, just release it on, well, that's the problem. You start releasing the stuff on streaming. And
What do you think, though? Do you think that this industry is going to survive this? I mean, what happens if they all go under? Now, I mean, we've read about how bad AMC's in trouble.
Yes.
And I forget the one that starts with an R.
Regal?
Regal shut its doors. They're done.
Oh, really? I didn't
That's
know.
from what I understand. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Cinemark has kind of treaded water. Now, I'm sure they're taking on water, but evidently not as bad as the other ones. See, AMC, I think, they were not built to sustain this because they want to be the biggest, the best, and the baddest. They want to compete with Studio Movie Grill. So they reconverted all their theaters to have stadium seating and all this stuff.
Bars.
They've been really loose with their spending, so they're the ones that have obviously heard a lot. Cinemark, you don't see all that much. They do what they do. Hey, we're Cinemark. You want to come to us? Great. This is what we got, and that's it. So they've been able to weather the storm a little more. What was it? Regional?
Well, yeah, Regal.
Regal is probably a distant third out of the two.
Yeah, because the big four you had are AMC, Cinemark, Regal, and Marcus.
See, I've never even heard of Marcus.
Marcus is, I think, predominantly, not mainly, but predominantly up north.
Okay.
There's one where a family member of mine lives up in Minnesota. There's one up there. There's some in Chicago.
Okay.
And along with Regal. But I just heard AMC just took out another $200 to $300 million to try to save their butt.
I mean, what do? Just let them go under? What happens if they go under? Because you don't have mom and pop theaters anymore.
No, that's...
I mean, there's a mom and pop theater in Greenville, Texas called the Majestic. I don't think it's part of anything.
The Dallas Theater and... Yeah.
Where's that? The Angelica?
The Angelica, the Inwood,
Yeah.
Magnolia. There's a few.
Rockwall used to have the Rockwall. Was it Rockwall 8 or Rockwall 12, something like that? Old theater off of Ridge Road.
Okay. But how long can any of those places sustain?
I don't know how many mom and pop ones are left. That the ones that I'm saying, you know about the four that we said. But again, AMC is heavily in trouble.
I mean, the way I look at it is this: they by summertime, at the absolute latest, where we're at, with the pandemic and all, we would have to end. The theater doors would have to open in a massive way
Well,
for summer.
but is there content? And I think that's the other problem they're running into. There's no content to draw people to go. Now you've got people that like, maybe if I was a little more comfortable, would go just for the popcorn because I think they're showing old movies too. And there are movies that I've seen on the list like, hey man, that'd be pretty cool to see on the big screen.
Yeah.
But there's no content. There's nothing coming out. When's the next big Marvel movie coming out?
Well, yeah.
What's going to draw these people back to the theater?
And we're not just talking a few thousand. What the theater system needs, what it's thrived on for the past 20 years at least, has been mega billion-dollar films.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're all getting a piece of that big pie, that billion-dollar Endgame or Infinity War.
They can't run on $20-30 million small budget films.
But again, to me, that goes back to AMC. If they just stay in their lane and did what they were good with, they wouldn't be this bad.
It's almost like Blockbuster.
Blockbuster deserved what they got. They were screwing people for years with them late charges. Netflix, come out and say there ain't no late charges. We'll mail the DVDs to you. Sorry, Blockbuster.
They still do it.
You're out.
But
I don't wish anything bad on people, but I just remember as a kid, like, you better get that video back, or you're going to pay out the teeth.
Oh, they gouged you.
Oh, they were raking it in for years. So
Yes.
I don't have a lot of pity for Blockbuster. We used to have it was a family-owned rental place where I used to live out in Quinlan, Hollywood Video.
Yeah.
They were real cool. They had new releases, they had old ones, they had games.
Not
Not affiliated, no.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. 'Cause it
And
was the chain, yeah.
the great thing about that is that they did have late fees. I turned in a disc. I think it was a DVD. No, I think it was a VHS because, if you don't rewind it, they charge you like 50 cents.
Sure.
But I put in the rewinder. I turned in the cover, but it was still in the rewinder. And they had left the message. We were already out of town. I'm like, oh crap. So I took it back. It was like 10 days late. And I was like, I brought it back. I was like, I'm sorry we went out of town. And she's like, and she was, so what do we do? I said, what do you, can you work something out with me? And she's like, well, with late fees is like $50. I was like,
Good night.
Well, maybe not that much. It was like $30 or
Yeah,
something.
but still.
That's still a lot, especially part-time job. And she's like, I lost rental on it for 7 days. You know what? Give me $10. I said, that's it? At $10? I said, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
It's another side note on that is my buddy Court, we were in high school together and stuff, but he came over to crash one night and he was going to bring his system. I forgot what it was. And I think it was a Nintendo or something, but he forgot one cord. So we went up there and he was begging this woman. He said, I just need that cord there. And she's like, I can't rent out the cord. You have to rent out the whole system. Well, how much is it for the system? Like $30. I don't want the system. I just want the cord. But no, anyway, back to, the theater. They're saying that a lot of movies, big movies, are going to be, streamed.
Yes.
Like Wonder Woman was just streamed.
Yeah.
They're talking about the new Matrix one is going to be streamed.
Black Widow.
The new Godzilla movie is supposed to be streamed.
Yeah.
So, again, what is going to drive these people back to the theater?
In a massive way. I mean,
I think it's going to take they'll survive. It's going to be tough, especially with somebody like AMC, but I think they'll survive. It's just, they're going to need content. That's the problem. If they get content, they should be fine, and hopefully things will start getting back to normal at some point. And, maybe we'll get back to the to the good old days. Get the big box of popcorn, man.
I could definitely see them closing some locations.
They might have to do that.
I would see that as definitive. I mean,
What can you do?
yeah.
What was like the big movie you saw as a kid that you couldn't wait to see at the theater? I can name one off the top of my head real back. It's Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, yeah.
That was big. Batman.
I was going to say Batman. I still have memories. I can still, in my mind's eye, I can still see waiting in line for that film.
Remember and it's definitely not one of the good ones, but Batman Forever and how heavily promoted it was.
Yeah.
McDonald's and all that. And I remember seeing it at the theater, and it's, you know,
That was when, and that's not to say Star Wars and all the films that came before it that proceeded in the 70s and the 80s didn't have marketing and things like that. But what you started seeing in the 90s was this huge ramping up.
well, you know, with like ramping up with like, you know, Taco Bell and
Yeah.
remember Taco Bell had that big ad campaign for Congo,
Yes.
and
yes.
Congo did not do well at all.
No.
It did.
I
I
thought it was a
remember
fair film.
that. I don't think I've seen it all the way through yet. Remember Contact with Jodie Foster?
Matthew
That
McConaughey.
was heavily
It was
promoted. Yeah, but some of the movies I wish I'd seen in the theater would like the original Blade Runner,
Yeah.
the original The Thing,
Yeah.
John Carpenter's The
82,
Thing, yeah. Back to the Future,
Yeah. I don't think what was that, 84?
yeah,
85?
85, yeah. Got to get
Okay.
back to 1985.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah,
How did we
85.
miss that?
Yeah. I was 4 years
The
old. I'm
original
sure.
Karate Kid,
Yeah.
that was 84.
84.
that was-
Yeah, I know I didn't see that. I was 3 years old.
I remember seeing the Flintstones in the theater with John Goodman and
Oh,
Rick
gosh.
Moranis.
Yeah, I remember.
That was great. Now the sequel kind of fell short, but
Yeah.
yeah. But I remember Jurassic Park. That was great.
The thing for me, and I know you weren't, it didn't affect you too much, or you didn't get as much out of it, but for me, just the enjoyment of being there with all the people, you could laugh all together, people,
Yeah.
you know, you applauded together, people would scream stuff out.
Well, see, I'm not a big fan of that.
No, I'm not talking to the point where it gets,
Annoying.
yeah, well that, I mean,
Please
but
be quiet.
right, I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about, you know, in an emotional, like, you know, something like that.
What are we seeing? Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I-
I used to yell all the time.
Yeah, but yeah, I know what you're saying, but stuff that experience,
I remember
social experience.
one time for my birthday, we got dropped off at the theater. We saw like 3 movies, and we only paid for one.
Yeah, there was always that too. Yeah,
And I remember we were like a few years ago, we were walking around the harbor, and somebody actually got in trouble for that. You heard the guy, they were waiting on the cops to come, and she was like, I didn't do this. And he said, you paid for one movie and you saw 3. I'm like, you get in trouble for that? Thank God I don't do it anymore.
yeah, it was always an amazing time, and I think it's a
These things have come like, some of them, like, to me, that's what I love about like Cinemark. They're almost like cathedrals, just beautiful lobbies and stuff.
Yeah.
AMC is just, they spend all this money for this modern, up-to-date stuff with the bar and stuff, and to me, it just loses its nostalgia to me.
yeah. What was the movie, the Majestic with?
I love the Majestic.
You
Jim
know,
Carrey.
you go in there and you see it's an old time setup as far as the way it's the structure of the building
Yeah.
and the way it's decorated.
Then you got the posters for stuff
Yeah.
that's coming soon.
It takes you back in time to where you know, as a kid, you know, the Indiana Jones movies, maybe things like that.
Now that would have been cool to see it there. I did see the last one. It was okay.
Yeah, for me personally, the Star Trek movies.
Did you ever go to those midnight showings?
No.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yeah, I did see.
That was a mistake.
I think the original Trek, or the rebooted Trek,
Trek.
a Star Trek.
What about Tekken?
No,
Double Dragon?
Yeah.
I don't even know if that went in the theater.
I think
Better
it
not.
did. Yeah, Robert Patrick pulled
Double Dragon.
Temple Dragon, man. Yeah, no,
Double Bagging, Double Dragon. Man.
Street Fighter. I did see that in the theater.
I only love it because of Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then what's his name? He was Gomez too.
Oh yeah, Raul Julia.
Raul Julia
Yeah.
played in Bison, and he did great as Bison.
He did. But that's, I mean, talking about the theater experience. For me, it was a social event. Go there with your buddies. You're surrounded by a bunch of people who hopefully are going for the same reason you are.
But you know, you don't. Which I guess is good. You don't talk much, but
No, you don't talk much, but again, you're all enjoying it together. At least that's what I got.
you know what I've gotten to realize too that I enjoy is taking like my little boys to see
Yeah.
films, and they enjoy it really well. Like if it like Toy Story 4, took them to see that I guess 2 years ago now. Jeez, But taking them to see that or Frozen 2, and it's just an experience for them too. They love it. He went. I remember I took my oldest to. We went to see Justice League.
Right. Yeah.
That was a mistake.
Well, last year, I think it was last year. We 40th anniversary of Apocalypse Now. You know, and again, just something about seeing these films on the big screen.
I got a question for you. Worst film you ever saw in the theater?
In the theater. Oh, if memory serves me right, I walked out of one that I can remember. That was Zoolander. I walked out of Zoolander, and I can say too another one. Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. That was absolutely deplorable. It was terrible.
You didn't like Cowboys and Aliens either.
Well, I was disappointed, for goodness sakes.
I don't know. Again, I don't get what you thought you were going to get out of this great Oscar-winning film. It was a movie about cowboys and aliens. You get what you get out of it.
No, listen. When you can think about cowboys and aliens, you're thinking, man, this is high concept stuff.
High concept.
Yeah. No one. I mean, who thinks of this? This is great. This is terrific. And what did they do with it?
Hey, I enjoyed it because I got out of it what I knew what I was going to get out of it.
They could have done a lot more with that.
You expect way too much. Your bar is too high on certain things.
And
then you watch these really bad films that I don't understand why. But I walked out of one film. It was Black Hawk Down. And not because it was a bad movie. It was because the audio kept cutting out. It was 30 minutes into it. I had no idea what the heck was going on. And then me and my buddy were arguing with them for 30 minutes about a refund, but they wouldn't give us a refund. And so you can go back in there. I'm like, so now we're an hour into this, and we still don't know what's going on. So we just left. But the worst film I ever saw that I wish I'd walked out on was Alien vs. Predator.
Okay.
That was terrible.
Yeah. I can... Well, but I like that, though.
See, there's something wrong with you.
I enjoyed that.
No good films. You just know bad films.
It's not true.
That is very true.
There have been some others I think I had some bad experiences with at the theater. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, man. I felt so dirty after it. Sacha Baron Cohen. I don't remember if I get his name. He did Bruno, which is... he plays a fruity guy. I wanted to leave so bad. There was so much just to me it wasn't even that funny. The funniest part was he had this little editing thing where he was talking about he was going to have this big interview with Harrison Ford, and he kept teasing it. Finally he's like, all right, here's my big interview with Harrison Ford. And Harrison Ford, it was really Harrison Ford walking out of somewhere. Excuse me, Mr. Ford, F off. He just walked off, got in his car. I'm like, that was the best part of the movie.
So he was just like a really eccentric character.
Yes, over the top.
Was he?
It's just a lot of... But no, I mean, there have been movies where I've been disappointed, but, I look forward to going to those Marvel films every year.
Oh, yeah.
And anytime a Batman film comes out, I'm there.
Yeah.
For good or for worse.
I mean, we'll see what the future brings.
Hopefully, yeah. I would like to get back to going to the theater. I miss it. I do miss it, Obviously, I've had time to do other things and stuff like that. But, I'd love to, get back there and sit down and have my popcorn and watch a film. There's certain movies that are just, they're meant to go see on the big screen.
I can't imagine having the same experience, at least for the first time, of Interstellar.
That's true. Or even the last Godzilla movie we saw, King of the Monsters. I'm not a huge Godzilla fan. I'm not. But I love going to the theater and watching it. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's a popcorn film.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But anyway, I guess that's what's going on today.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll all share this at a theater with a bucket of popcorn and a drink and watching a good film.
Smuggle some Aunt Annie's pretzels in.
Yeah, we've done that too. But that's another story. We'll see you later.
Yeah,